Ahoy, ye mateys! Stephanie here on my privateer. Some of you may remember that back in October, I started a series called Pirate101 Combat Basics, and the first video in the series was Chaining Companions, where I explained the concept of chains and how to maximize chains. So just a quick recap of that video, for those of you who may not have seen it or may not remember it. A chain is basically the initial planned attack followed by repeated attacks. The two starter companions that you recruit in the game, the one who escapes from the Armada ship with you, and Bonnie Ann, whom you meet in Skull Island, are two of the best chaining units in the game. So, for privateers, the companion who escaped with us was Egg Shen. He can learn Bladestorm, which is an attack that happens after you critical, and Relentless, which is a chance to hit the same target after you land a hit. Now Bonnie is a ranged unit, and the ranged versions of Bladestorm and Relentless are Double Tap and Burst Fire. Now I also explained that depending on whether the unit is melee or ranged, or what class it is, it also has a different primary stat. So for musketeers, their highest stat is agility. This means that the chances of them landing a critical hit on a target is based off the difference between their agility and the target's agility. So musketeers are likely to land critical hits on units with low agility, such as privateers. And buccaneers are likely to land critical hits on units with low strength, such as musketeers and witches. So there are basically two ways to maximize your unit's chains. One is to make their primary stat as high as possible compared to the unit you want them to chain on. So in my video, I showcase how to do this by giving Bonnie Ann an agility buff, and I also used Ratbeard's decrease agility hit on the target that I wanted her to chain on. So by making the difference between her primary stat and her target as big as possible, you increase the chances of her getting critical hits and therefore double tap happening. Now the chances of her landing hits is based off the difference between her accuracy and the target's dodge. So I also showcased a number of ways to increase the chances of hits landing by using Ratbeard's Hold the Line rank 3, which decreases the dodge of incoming enemy units by 50% when they approach. And then I also used El Toro's accuracy and dodge buff. So that's a quick recap of the first video, which is that some units are built to chain, and you can increase the chances of chains happening by increasing their critical and accuracy compared to the target. Now for this second video and later videos in the series, what I want to do is explain one epic at a time. So chains are pretty easy to understand once you see them in action. These are basically just hits that follow the initial planned hit. But then there are also other epics in play on the battle board which might not be as obvious. So today what I'm gonna explain is flanking. Flanking is a triggered hit like Vengeance Strike, which I showed you in my first video. But the unique thing about flanking is that it doesn't exclusively rely on what the opponent does. You can actually plan to make it trigger. By the way, just for the record, this companion that I recruited in Cool Ranch is a really bad companion. He only has 4 epics, 1, 2, 3, 4. Compare that with Egg Shen, for example, who has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 epics in total. So this is a very bad companion. You won't see him in PvP unless people are messing around or doing some sort of special themed event. But the reason I'm using him for this video is because he was the first companion who taught me how flanking worked, and that really helped me when I built my second character, my swashbuckler, because the first companion I recruited in Skull Island was Fan Flanders, and she came with 1 rank of flanking. Alright, so what I'm gonna do first is just shield my team. I'm gonna have Toro drop the accuracy and dodge buff. And the reason I'm placing my units behind me is because I built my pirate with 3 ranks of hold the line and 3 ranks of repel borders, so this means that any approaching units will have decreased accuracy and decreased dodge. Alright, so out of the 4 enemy units on the board, this one currently has decreased dodge, so we are going to focus on this guy. I'm going to give weapon power to Action, and I actually think he can probably just take out this guy all by himself, but anyway, in case he doesn't, let's watch what happens here. Yeah, unfortunately Mustang Rowdy didn't get to hit. It's okay, there are more enemies on the board. Okay, actually, this is a perfect opportunity because that Manticore just walked between Action and Mustang Rowdy, so the flanking goes off. Did you see that? And Mustang Rowdy missed, but you can see that's one way that flanking can trigger, is when the enemy walks between your unit who has flanking and the unit that it flanks with. So he can flank with any unit who is also a melee unit, so he cannot flank with like musketeers or witches. Anyway, let's further increase everybody's accuracy. This guy has reduced dodge, so let's go for him. I'm actually gonna have Toro hit somebody else because I want Mustang Rowdy to get an opportunity, so let's have him go opposite to Toro, flank with Toro, and hit this guy. Assuming Action doesn't kill. Alright, Action was generous enough to save. Yeah, so the flanking went off and then the planned attack went off, and because it went critical, he gets a Blade Storm. He does not have Relentless, which is why another reason why he's not that good of a companion, but yeah. Okay, so this Manticore has reduced dodge and reduced accuracy. I actually use Toro primarily for support, but he sometimes likes to steal the limelight like that. Okay, I'm not gonna overthink this, just quickly finish this. So just to recap, flanking can trigger in 2 ways. The first way is when an enemy is dumb enough to walk between 2 of your melee companions, one of whom has flanking. The second way that flanking can trigger is when you are planning your attacks. You position one companion on one side of the unit that you are focusing on, and then you position your flanking companion on the other side, opposite from the unit that you want him to flank with. So now that you have this knowledge, this can help you in questing because some enemies in questing will have flanking. For example, the notorious striped bumballoons in Cool Ranch. That quest can be very difficult, but if you understand that the bumballoons have flanking, you will know not to walk between them and trigger unnecessary extra hits. And I just switched over to my swashbuckler character really quickly to show you. In PvP, some swashbuckler opponents will use this weapon called Nefarious Knives, which gives 1 rank of flanking, and pretty much every swashbuckler will use the companion Fan Flanders, who comes automatically with 1 rank of flanking. And you can use this to your advantage if they make a mistake in positioning. If they are trying to execute a gigantic attack on your team with black fog and their entire team is hidden, if they make a mistake in positioning, you can trigger the flanking to get them out of hidden instead of them combining the hidden with, let's say, a super strike or an assassin strike. So you can position your units between their units with flanking and trigger an attack which will remove the hide. And of course, if you are playing Swashbuckler and you understand how flanking works, you will know not to make those positioning mistakes, and you will also use Fan's flanking to your advantage by positioning her opposite to companions that you want her to flank with so that she can help you finish off a priority target. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Feel free to test out the mechanics of flanking on your own as you solo farm certain bosses. Most of the knowledge in this video I accumulated over time by watching people play and also by farming on my own. It is very important to be independent and spend time farming on your own. Sometimes not rely on people to carry you all the time, because that is when you can really and truly understand the deepest mechanics of this game. So leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.